Hey guys, Adrian here for the Digital Dojos, and today we're going to talk a little bit of tech news, and I want to kind of round up the event of the latest Microsoft event and the revealing of the new quote-unquote Xbox One. So Xbox One, let's just jump right into it. I'm going to do a full blog post on this, but I want to talk about this because I've been lacking some news coverage lately, and I do enjoy covering tech news. So yesterday, Microsoft had its event at about 3 a.m. my time for me. So it was a nice little keynote where they talked about the latest unveiling of their Xbox that they're calling Xbox One. A lot of people speculated it'd be the Xbox 720. They're calling it the Xbox One. So now you have the Xbox 360, Xbox 360, what they call the Slim, which was that latest Black Edition, and now you have quote unquote the Xbox One. Let's jump off right off the bat with hardware and design. Design wise, here's a picture of the new Xbox One, and I'm kind of mixed on its design. It's very modern in terms of the material, the build quality. It looks really modern, but it reminds me a lot of, and a lot of people talk about this, a lot of kind of a VCR look. In my opinion, just from the pictures, it looks a little bit bulkier than that of the older designs. It looks more like a set-top box slash DVD VCR player. It is very reminiscent of those old black boxes that sit in your media center. I think fans of like home theater PCs and people who are going to be using this in a computer like setup, I think it nicely integrates with other stuff as just simple black material. And I think again the aesthetics of it are kind of a hit or miss with some people. It's a big kind of set top box meets Xbox sort of deal is the best way I've heard it described. Let's actually get into the hardware specs of it though. It has a new 8-core CPU integrated, 8-core CPU and GPU, so very very powerful, and that has about 8 gigs of RAM, so tons of memory. I believe a 500 gig hard drive. I believe that's standard. I'm not sure if they're gonna be iterating different models like they usually do the Xbox. But 500 gig hard drive, that's probably will be the standard baseline. USB 3.0 support, so that's very nice, and 802.11n Wi-Fi support. So the latest of all the latest and greatest technologies all integrated into that of the Xbox One. The One also integrates a new controller. It's integrating a new controller that is very much based off of the original design, but has some new things. Like the bigger things in it are the vibrating triggers, so it gives you more of a feedback sense when you're playing a game. Vibrating triggers, that updated D-pad that a lot of people liked. It has a traditional XYAB layout. I believe improved precision triggers, and all of that, and all this nice stuff, and a nice little kind of matte black look, which I really enjoy. I think they did the controller a really good justice. And the biggest thing in the upgrade to that is that of the Kinect. So here's the Kinect, the latest Kinect. It's new and it's kind of front and center, and it's really the biggest thing revolving around the Xbox One. I think they're really trying to push this Kinect, and it's going to be bundled a lot with the Xbox One. The new Kinect is now has a 1080p sensor with a wide angle lens, and it has a lot in which it can do now. It can do a lot of it's evolved around the Xbox a lot in that it controls all the voice commands. You can turn on the Xbox now with your Xbox. It's kind of reminiscent of that Google Glass thing where you're like, okay, Google, and you tell it to do things. You can tell it Xbox turn on, Xbox go to TV. It understands these commands to navigate around the user interface. But the new Kinect has been upgraded in tons of ways. If you see footage of this, and you'll probably find this online, of the Xbox Kinect, it can support up to like 6 people on screen now, so it can recognize up to 6 people. It can recognize now if you're kind of like looking at the camera, if I'm focusing on the game or if I'm kind of just sidetracked looking over here. It can tell if I'm engaged or not, essentially is what I'm trying to say, with the Xbox, with the TV, with whatever is going on. In terms of tracking, it does a lot of crazy new things. It could track basic movements before, but now it can track simple things like, you turning your hands around like this. It's much more better at tracking stuff like that. It can tell if you're putting pressure on your right foot or your left foot. So if you're kind of bouncing left to right, it can tell where your pressure in your body is being put. It's really, really cool. If you're exercising and doing kind of those crazy, games where you have to be moving around a lot, it can track your heart rate. And this is, really cool technology they've built into the new Kinect. And I think that this is, if anything, the biggest hardware improvement aside from the set-top box itself, is all put into the Kinect. And to, of course, meet the new hardware is the new software. The new software is essentially Windows 8 meets Xbox 360. We saw Xbox kind of leading this way with their latest dashboard update. It's a much more modern tiled interface now, kind of dark set to match that of the Xbox One. But you get that traditional tiled interface that you would be expected of that of Windows 8 or the Metro or modern UI, whatever you want to call it. The new software integrates some new things, like they talked a lot about the Skype that's going to be packed in, the Skype application, which I think is going to be a really big thing for Skype, kind of moving its way into living rooms since everybody's going to have a Connect Everybody's gonna have an Xbox, whether it's in their living room or their bedroom. And now you can easily Skype while you're playing games, watching a movie, whatever, on your Xbox, which I think is going to be a big deal for Skype and stuff like that. The new UI also integrates some things that you're familiar with in Windows 8. It can do a new thing software-wise. It's called Snap Mode, so you can be watching a game, playing a game, watching a movie, and you can kind of snap in a new application in like Skype, so you can kind of open Skype up on the side, kind of have a picture-in-picture, along with many other apps that are going to support to kind of have this snap mode, so you can kind of do really either, I don't know if you truly call it multitasking, kind of just multi-pane viewing of things going on within the Xbox. To answer some of the bigger questions, you will be able to play offline. A lot of people talked about this always connected thing. You're going to be able to play offline. You're going to be able to, live still exists, so live is going to carry over into the new Xbox. And a lot of these things it's going to be centered on is TV. A lot of the Xbox One is going to, and they talked about this a lot at the keynote, is that of the TV integration. One of the new technologies in the One is the HDMI pass-through. So you can hook up your cable box now to your Xbox One, and it basically takes your cable box and overlays its own Xbox UI on top of it. So you can be watching, for example, an NBA game or an NFL game, and the Xbox can import your fantasy stats from if you do fantasy league stuff onto the screen and update if like your player makes a shot, and it'll upgrade his points and stuff like that. So it has some cool technologies in terms of TV usage and stuff like that if you're watching TV. It's not trying to replace your cable box, because you still need your cable box in order to get this over. It's not going to be replacing your cable box. It's just overlaying its own interface on top of it to make it a more, I guess, immersive and interactive experience, if anything. In closing, I think what the Xbox One is really, what they're aiming to do with it is really make it that focus, that center of your home media center. One of the big things they did also is integrate a new Blu-ray drive. Kind of a feature I believe is kind of just taken or implemented just because they don't want a reason for customers to move over to the Sony side of things. So now, great hardware, check, new software, check, and it's really revolving around everything in your your home entertainment system. You can watch TV with it now. You can play your games through it now. You have these apps like Netflix and Skype. And they're really just trying to be involved in everything that has to do with your media, whether it's in your living room or your bedroom or whatever. In terms of game titles, they didn't do a lot of game title talk. They had a couple of game titles, but they didn't really show gameplay, is what I meant to say. Call of Duty Ghosts was unveiled. That was pretty cool, to see the new trailer for that and all of that. And obviously, with gaming, you're expected to see with new consoles and new games, yes, the graphics get better. But being a PC gamer myself, graphics have always been, you're used to really great graphics. And the thing about PC gaming is you can get super great graphics on a budget, and you can constantly upgrade your hardware. So that's kind of, PC gaming is probably I think, the top of the line in terms of gaming. But the reason consoles, I believe, really hold something more of a market is, for people who don't know how to build custom PCs, and I think that's more, that outweighs the people who do type thing. So it's less of a hassle for people to buy a console and just simply play it and, wait for a new one to come out rather than it is for them to learn how to build a computer and do all those things. So yeah, in terms of console gaming with the Xbox One or the PS4, they're incremental upgrades. We're not seeing leaps and bounds different in these new consoles. And the technology in them. I think the Kinect, if anything, is really the biggest thing that is really unveiled in the One. Yes, the hardware's great. Yes, the software's great. Yes, there's some new cool titles coming out. They didn't really show a lot of gameplay, though. They showed a lot of cinematics, a lot of trailers, stuff like that. Nonetheless, it has some nice integrations. It has some nice new upgrades with the Blu-ray player, controller, hardware aesthetics, all of that good stuff. And when it comes down to it, I think if it's going to be between the PS4 and the Xbox One, I'll probably most likely end up getting both. But in the first, depending on release date, I believe they said the Xbox One's coming out later in the year. And we still haven't even seen what the PS4 looks like. I'll probably be getting the Xbox One first, if anything, if I decide to pick one over the other, just because I've predominantly on the console side of things played on the Xbox. All my friends are on the Xbox Live platform, all of that good stuff. I don't really mind paying that monthly subscription fee to enjoy some good services. Anyways, what do you guys think about the Xbox One? Do you guys think they did a lot of good things with this? Do you think the hardware changes are, adequate to kind of come to modern times? What do you think this has over the PS4, vice versa? Love to hear your guys' thoughts in the comments below. Thanks a lot for watching. Don't forget to check out all links and articles below in the description. Thanks again.